Lawmakers are pushing to keep foreign countries from buying up land in our country, mainly those that are close to our military sites. And some of them are even willing to sign a bipartisan deal to get there. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, is it Buttigieg? Buttigieg? I'm not sure. But he's getting some criticism for his private plane rides and gets fact-checked after deferring blame of the Ohio train derailment to former President Donald Trump, while House Republicans call for his resignation. Man, this guy's in a lot of trouble. Now, speaking of the former president, a recent poll has shown surprising numbers between him and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And Ukrainian President Zelensky says that America will soon have to send their sons and daughters to war if the American people pull back on their support for their country. Are you kidding me? Is he threatening us? We're gonna have to send our sons and daughters to war? What? It is no secret that some Americans are getting tired of sending taxpayer money overseas. Meanwhile, here at home, credit card debt continues to pile up. Social Security, SSI, SSDI, SNAP, and EBT, they're worried about their benefits running out. And with the debt limit dilemma facing the government, you have to wonder how we're still able to pledge hundreds of millions of dollars to a war. Now, we've got a lot to talk about today, but before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. It really helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to global happenings, the state of our economy, Social Security, housing market, SNAP, and EBT, the stock market, and everything that's going on in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below of this video. Now, we're going to be talking about him a lot today, so let's just go ahead and start off with Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. He says that he's glad that an audit will be done by the Transportation Department's Inspector General and says that it can finally clear up misleading narratives about his use of government planes. Here's what he said on his official Twitter account, quote, "Glad this will be reviewed independently so misleading narratives can be put to rest. Bottom line, I mostly fly on commercial jets in economy class. And when I do use our agency's aircraft, it's usually a situation where doing so saves taxpayer money," end quote. Here's the deal though. Why is he getting audited all of a sudden? Does it mean that his agency suspects him of some sort of wrongdoing? And if he says that he can fly on commercial flights, why did it take him so long to reach East Palestine, Ohio? That's the question that a lot of House Republicans are asking, as they're saying that Pete Buttigieg's track record, pardon the pun, has not been great at all. Representative Michael Walt, he said this about the secretary, quote, "Whether it's waiting weeks to visit East Palestine, vacationing in Portuguese wine country during vital union negotiations, his extended absence during one of the largest shipping crises we faced, or his failure to prevent massive aviation groundings, Secretary Pete Buttigieg has shown an inability to carry out the duties of his office. It's time for him to resign," end quote. Do you guys think that the appearance of Buttigieg dragging his feet before finally getting to Ohio is a sign that, maybe he's not up to the task of his office? Now, while Republicans are calling him out, Buttigieg has laid most of the blame on former President Donald Trump, saying that the Trump-era policies were the primary reason for the train derailment in Ohio. Now, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to make the call. Is it really Trump's fault or is it the Biden administration? But as per a recent fact check from the Washington Post's Glenn Kessler, who did a deep dive on every possible regulatory change made during the former president's time, things are not what they seem. So he says that, quote, "From our analysis, none of the regulatory changes made during the Trump administration at this point can be cited as contributing to the accident," end quote. The Washington Post isn't the biggest fan of Trump, so seeing them say that this isn't his fault is speaking volumes about, what may have truly happened in Ohio. But wait, if this wasn't Trump's fault, then whose fault is it? And will they be held accountable for affecting the lives of all these people? Now, on the topic of lives of Americans, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky went viral for this one clip.
There are political leaders that are elected by people, and if this issue is raised, those political leaders need to be responsible and cautious because people are looking at them. Who wants a third world war? Would anyone would anyone be willing to accept that risk? The U.S. is never going to give up on the NATO member states. If it happens so that Ukraine, due to various opinions and weakening and depleting of assistance, loses, Russia is going to enter Baltic states, NATO member states, and then the US will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight. Because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing. I would like to thank all of the American people that are supporting Ukraine, the Congress, the President, the TV channels, the journalists, and everyone that has been supporting us.
For context, and just to make this statement clear, Zelensky is talking about the possibility of our troops having to fight Putin if Ukraine loses. This means that support for Ukraine should not weaken and that Americans should have a better opinion of the help that we continue to send to them. Do you guys think that if Ukraine does lose, that Putin will then set his sights on NATO states? Will he then wage war on the United States if he actually wins in the Ukraine? And since we're already talking about other countries, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin says that he is ready to sign a bipartisan bill so long as it blocks the CCP or the Chinese Communist Party from buying any farmland in his state.
China has one goal, world domination, to do it at the expense of the United States. They're using every avenue possible from, yes, saber rattling with their military to surveillance with balloons and TikTok. And from trying to infiltrate our economic supply chain by using Trojan horse relationships like the one they have engineered with Ford Motor Company. And in Virginia, we're standing up strong. We're going to make sure that our agricultural farmland is not purchased by the CCP. We've got a bill now through on a bipartisan basis that I will sign that will keep China from buying our agricultural farmland, particularly next to our nationally strategic assets like the Pentagon and Quantico and the largest naval base in the world. We're going to make sure that we keep these national strategic assets safe.
What do you guys think of this? Another governor who made his opinions about China very public is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Although people have been tying him up to the 2024 presidential elections a lot more these days. His charm, though, seems to be dying down as recent polls showed the former President Donald Trump is ahead of him by 15 points among GOP primary voters in a hypothetical 2024 matchup. The former president leads all possible nominees with 43%. DeSantis follows with 28%. Nikki Haley and Mike Pence have 7% each, and Greg Abbott trails behind with just 2% of voters seeing him as their presidential nominee in 2024. We also have to consider that DeSantis hasn't really put his name in the hat just yet, which means that he could still catch up and gain favor down the road. Now the question is, will he really want to do that? Or should he just wait until 2028 and have Trump and Biden go at it again? What do you guys think? Whoever is winning in 2024 is going to have their work cut out for them, as there is a lot of recovering to do, not just with the chemical spills, railroad derailments, fires all over the place, but with the state of our economy. How many of us are now starting to max out our credit cards? How many are now seeing their rent go up higher than they can afford? Mortgage payments are becoming stiffer and stiffer. How much have we lost in our savings in just a few short years? Now, the problem is that inflation is still hot, and there really isn't much being done for the working American. But, and this is only if you want to turn your life around, there are ways to get back to financial freedom. There's the opportunity to create multiple streams of income through side hustles and small businesses, and of course, the possibility of becoming an investor in the stock market or in real estate. And of course, we can't miss the great help that, just a great budgeting plan can do to help our households. Now, if you guys want to talk more about that, feel free to join us over in the Patreon community. Also, for the best way to invest in gold, hit the link in the description down below of this video. Times are tough, but you and I, we're tougher. Now, before I go, guys, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Also, subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next video.